Hello and welcome back to Time to Change. I'm here with Matt Wood. He is the Chief Headache Reducer. I love that new title, but he is the founder and Chief Headache Reducer for Suiting Green Consulting. And you need to get yourself military ready and get a program together so that you can have the valuable insights of veterans working for you in your business. So reach out to Matt. Let's give it up for Matt in the house. Woohoo! Today, we're talking about succession planning. So the first question, obviously, is for people that don't know, what the heck is that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's a great question. And it's a lot of people, when they hear that, they start thinking insurance, they start thinking about retirement plans and, hey, what does that look like for me financially? I focus on is what does that look like for your company? So it is the process of identifying and developing qualified employees to fill key positions and leadership roles within an organization as they open up. So it's really looking forward within your organization.
What should you be looking at and how should you prepare yourself?
Really, it's a strategic way of thinking when you come in and look at how your organization is doing things as far as your human capital goes. How are you planning ahead? How are you doing anything within your organization strategically? And really, the first way you start is by how you hire people. Really, if you're doing this whole thing strategically and you're really trying to build out a good succession plan for your company, you are hiring strategically and hiring people that you can see filling leadership roles within your organization down the road.
What are some of the questions that you want to ask yourself and that maybe you want to ask people so that you make sure that you are putting people in the right place and you're putting all the pieces together behind the scenes?
And that's a great way to approach it. Again, starting at the beginning, look at your hiring, look at talent as opposed to just what's on a resume and how that individual's talent and character can potentially fill positions within your organization as they stay with you. You're also looking at how current employees who may have some leadership potential are being developed. Are they being developed? Are you providing them, as you said, that upskilling opportunity to learn more and grow within your organization? Having a good succession plan also ensures business continuity because you're able to have a pipeline
Good.
of qualified successors. These are people that have been cross-trained. They've been working closely with somebody who may be above them to ensure that there is a smooth transition and they have that business continuity either when that person leaves the organization or they promote. This is something that the military does pretty well. They plan for people leaving so that you have to understand that this is not somebody trying to take your job. This is somebody trying to help you as the individual so that you can actually go on vacation. You can go away. The movie We Were Soldiers had a great little clip about this where they're bringing the helicopters in and they land the first helicopter and while they're training and everybody gets off and they're all good. And then Colonel Moore says, "Hey, that was pretty good. Let's try something else." So the next helicopter comes in and he's right there as it lands. And he goes up and he looks at this lieutenant who's all gung ho. "Yeah, we're going to be the best platoon in this battalion." He's like, "All right, you're dead." And he turns to the platoon sergeant that's sitting right across from him and says, "All right, what do you do?" And the guy's hesitating, doesn't know. "All right, you're dead." He hesitated, he's dead. And he looks at the next guy and he's like, "All right, what do you do?" And he's like, "Get off the helicopter." Cool. And they all get off the helicopter and they pause everything. And Colonel Moore looks at the guy and says, "Hey, I want you to learn the position of the guy above you and teach your job to the person below you so that things like this don't happen." And I know that's kind of a really long way of looking at it, but you're not going into combat with business unless you look at, hey, my competition is the enemy. They're firing rounds by bringing in top talent, or producing a better product because they've got better talent or whatever. But the succession plan, when done right, helps you retain talent. because you're providing development and promotion opportunities to keep individuals around. And now you're also developing something that's really hard to find in a lot of organizations, and that's loyalty.
We are hiring people. We're thinking strategically. We have positions in place, and we're actually meeting with people and upskilling and reskilling. What happens when the unknown goes on? Because within succession planning, you have to plan for the unknown to some degree. It's like, all right,
Right.
who do we have that's really cross-trained and can step into roles, or who are we identifying outside that we can bring into the mix that meshes, that should mesh with our team if we lose a key person and we are not quite ready yet. So I think succession planning also is trying to bulletproof yourself from the unknown. So let's
Yeah.
talk about that for a second. And what does that look like? And how can we prevent having to pull people from the outside as much as possible and using our own team?
Well, the first thing that you're going to do is with anything. I mean, you don't build a house without a blueprint. So you build a plan for your succession plan. You look at who are our key roles within the organization. Who, if they leave tomorrow, would cause a significant stoppage or problem for our company. So you look at these positions, and a lot of times these are leadership positions,
Yeah.
because your entry level employees, I hate to say it, but they're kind of plug and play. You can move them around as need be, or you hire to fill that position, you recruit for that position. But you want to look at what are the key roles within our organization that if they leave, we've got some serious potential problems. So then you start looking at your people internally and assess their capabilities. Look at what are the capabilities and the readiness of these people to step up into these roles. Should should Matt leave? Well, who fills his position? And
Yeah.
then you start doing that upskilling. You start providing training, mentorship, and growth. And this is where I was asked a question about this one point. Says, what do you get if you have somebody who is resistant to this because they feel like it's going to take their job? And really, the best answer to it is, hey, I want to learn your job, whether or not you ever leave. I want to be able to learn your job so that you can actually go out on vacation. You can enjoy yourself and not have to be, interrupted 1,000 times a day unless it's, life, limb, eyesight, or the building's going to collapse because of, structural failure or something. Um, and it's just having those conversations and building that relationship with the individual to build that trust to say, hey, I'm not trying to take your position right now. I'm here if you need to leave, or, an emergency happens and you've got to go away right away. We can continue operating without you here. And you formalize this plan and you set up documentation to say, hey, this is what we're doing. These are some of the potential people we've identified. These are the positions we need to have filled immediately if something happens. And then
Yeah.
you continue to communicate that and review and update as time goes on, because just like every single plan, it changes. Things are going to happen that are going to cause change, and you have to be able to review and update. And this is all part of the plan that builds that continuity, builds that knowledge base that is able to keep going. Because hey, if Chason leaves, who knows how to do what he does? Well,
Yeah.
if nobody, then that's a problem. But
Right.
if and I mean, like, you look at big organizations where hey, John knows how to do this really well, and he's constantly doing this. Well, John just got promoted, and now um, Sarah's moving in to fill his position, but she doesn't know all the ins and outs of what he was doing to keep things running, and who to talk to smooth things through, or the little nuances that are part of the unwritten standard operating procedures. But if John is talking to Sarah and they're mentoring, he's mentoring her, she's asking questions. Now John can have that emergency or whatever and go away. Sarah's easily going to step in and say, cool, I got it. I know who to talk to when this is a problem.
Yeah.
I just rewatched Multiplicity with Michael Keaton the other day, and where number three goes in to fill in for number two on a job site and doesn't know the answers to all these questions that are being asked. It's like, well, that's where this kind of comes into play.
Yeah.
Number two is sick and out, so number three had to fill in, but had to constantly step away and ask questions.
Yeah.
If you're talking and you're having conversations, you're bringing people in and saying, hey, I usually do this kind of thing and this works, and don't talk to Bob over in accounting because Bob doesn't really know anything about our section of things. Cool. I know that. Well, let me go ask, Marcia over here because she knows. And next thing you know, we're building the Brady Bunch because we've got Peter, Bob, and Brad coming in and stuff. But you're getting to that point where everybody knows how to do things. And like this is the military personnel are very familiar with this when it comes to having that succession plan. Like as a brand new individual into the military, your chain of command from your first level leader all the way up to the president. And all right, well, if so and so leaves, then the next person in the line is going to step up. And I mean, you look at the chief of staff or whatever at senior levels, they have their vice. They have that executive officer that can step in and fill that position. So that's really the basis of a succession plan, is setting your organization up to, because this is part of the word, succeed and have success without any real pause in operations.
I think, one of the things that, and you kind of mentioned this, but if people feel safe, if people have the psychological safety that's created within the organization and they feel like they're in an organization that cares about them and that they are safe and that they can learn at their own pace and thrive, bloom where they are, then they're going to be more apt to upskilling and reskilling and teaching people and mentoring. They're going to be open to that because they see what it does in the organization. They see how it works and they understand the importance, because the company is pouring into everyone, not just somebody.
Right.
And it fills the gap. It fills the gap. So we are running out of time, but I love this. We clearly defined what succession planning is. You clearly went through and talked about some key components of it, but I want to give you another just little bit. If there's anything that you want to say to just burn into people's brains about succession planning and how important it is, give you that right now before we sign off.
Absolutely. So succession planning, it's crucial for identifying and developing new leaders within an organization. It ensures business continuity, prepares your company for the future, and is going to save you money, because now you're not having to hire big ticket people from outside to come in and fill a role when you've got people who are already in there. And yes, it's going to cost you a little bit more to pay, give them that pay raise that they're going to deserve, but you're not having to spend all the money out there to try and find a person to fill that role whenever somebody leaves.
Well said. Well said. We have been talking to Matt Wood. He is the founder and chief headache reducer for Suiting Green Consulting. Thanks for being here with us, Matt. And you have been listening to Time to Change.